Well, good evening. We will now call to order the November 24th, 2020 public meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the adoption. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Pearson, all in favor? It's carried. Now, under 3.1, read the public hearing statement. This public hearing dated November 24th, 2020, held in the Village of Valemount Council Chambers at 735 Cranberry Road, Valemount, BC, is being convened pursuant to the terms of the Local Government Act prior to consideration of Village of Valemount Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 832/2020, the Village of Valemount Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 832/2020. At a public hearing, any person present who believes that they are affected by a matter being considered shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matter contained in the proposal. Members of the public speaking on the proposal should, at the appropriate time, commence your address to this council by clearly stating your name and area of residence, upon which you may give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposal. Anyone who deems their interests are affected by or shall be given the opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. All who speak at this public hearing will restrict the remarks to matters contained in the proposal. It is my responsibility as chairperson of this meeting to ensure that all remarks are so restricted. At the conclusion of the public hearing, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representation made at the hearing. 3.2, we will now have a presentation by our planner, Ms. Vicente.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Okay, so the public hearing this evening is in regards to Parcel D of the south half of the northeast quarter of District Lot 7355, Caribou District, except part subdivided by Plan BCP 1223. This is the village-owned vacant lot south and east of the high school, which I'll refer to as a subject property. I'm going to share my screen here just to show you the area I'm talking about. So, the Valemount Senior Citizens Housing Society is proposing to develop 16 to 24 affordable housing units for seniors, including multi-purpose rooms, communal spaces, and staff offices. This development will provide long-term, affordable, and accessible housing for seniors. Aging in place has been identified as a major challenge in Valemount and the Robson Valley. This proposal is very much in line with Council's priorities and policies set out in the OCP, and multiple housing studies conducted over the last 5 years have indicated the need for more affordable housing, and in particular for seniors. This proposal is stage one of a larger master plan. The master plan would occupy roughly 5 of the 60 acres of vacant land on the subject property. So this 5-acre section outlined in black here of the entire 60 acres is the portion of land that is subject for the rezoning and OCP amendment today. The master plan hopes to include a variety of mixed housing types and densities, multi-purpose rooms, provide long-term care, assisted living, and adult day programs. They also plan to include a number of commercial uses such as laundry services, salon, dining, clinic, hospice, fitness, etc., as well as green spaces and outdoor communal and recreation areas. These services would be for our community and its surrounding residents, as well as the on-site residents. For the 16 to 24 units being proposed for the first phase, the on-site uses will include independent housing, including spaces for services such as laundry, meals, and fitness, guest and staff housing, dining rooms and kitchen spaces, multi-purpose rooms, a lift tub for community use, including non-residents, and office spaces. This development proposal requires both a zoning and an OCP amendment. No bed and breakfast nor short-term vacation rental uses will be permitted. The proposed OCP amendment is a designation change from public and institutional to multiple family residential to ensure the proposed zoning amendment is compliant with the OCP land use map. The zoning amendment proposes to rezone a portion of the subject property from institutional and cultural facilities to high-density residential, to add seniors residential care as a permitted use to the R5 zone, and to add a definition for seniors residential care. No issues were raised during the referral period, and no written comments have been received. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just to reiterate, under 3.3, no written submissions have been received.
That's correct.
Thank you. Is there any presentations by the proponent under 3.4? Are there any under 3.5 public submissions in the form of verbal presentations?
No.
Are there any questions or comments raised from the public submissions under 3.6? None. Are there any questions by council to the planner, to the proponent? So I'll ask for a second time if there are any public submissions in the form of verbal presentations. And a third time, any public submissions? Hearing none, I'll now adjourn this public hearing. Now call to order the regular meeting of council for Tuesday, November 24th, 2020. First item up, 3.1, adoption of the tonight's agenda. Councillor Pearson, Councillor G, any additions? All in favor? It's carried. Under 3.1, are there any public comments on today's agenda items? Any written submissions?
Nothing received.
Item 4.1, adoption of the previous minutes being November 10th, 2020. Councillor G, Councillor McLean, any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? Carried. Under 5.1, we do have a delegation this evening from the Valemount Area Recreation Development Association, known as VARDA. We have Mr. Tony Bielek and the board president, Mr. Matt Cochran. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening, council. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Can everyone hear me okay?
If you can adjust your volume a little bit, that'd be awesome.
How's that? Is it a bit better?
That's awesome. That's great. Thanks.
Fantastic. Well, again, my name is Tony Bielek. I'm acting on behalf of the of VARDA this evening, and I do have a submission that was written by the executive committee from VARDA that I would like to read to you here this evening. VARDA is working harder than normal during this year's startup to adapt to a provincial health order's recommendation and requirements for our operations. Though our sport is inherently individual and allows for safe and socially distanced recreation, we want to ensure that we maintain a high level of safety practice and messaging to ensure our community is safe, as well as our patrons and our staff. The recent orders from the PHO did not mention travel. Ultimately, this leaves the final decision to travel up to the individual. In this case, we will continue to see a strong winter recreation interest that we have become used to and so dependent on in this community. We understand that these times breed a level of uncertainty for our winter economy, as it is based off of winter travel. Many of our local businesses and their staff are dependent on the revenue that winter recreation brings to the community, and discouraging that could be detrimental to the long-term economic health of this community. VARDA would like to request that the Village Council and Tourism Valemount work closer with us to communicate more regularly and on shorter intervals during these difficult times. VARDA is ultimately left in a position to provide information to a large and eager group, and we want to ensure that the information we provide is within the best interest of our entire community. Currently, we do not feel we are well supported in this situation, and we feel we are being left to speak on behalf of a community without input from its elected officials. The current travel recommendations ultimately leave the final choice of the individual to travel, and some will inevitably choose to travel. We believe our messaging should focus on what we expect of the people choosing to travel to our community during this time. Our current messaging posted through VARDA is if you decide to travel to Valemount, we ask everyone be safe as possible, as respectful as possible, no matter which side of the COVID discussion you are on. Anyone deciding to travel for recreation needs to portray a good public image to the communities that they are traveling to. We're expecting people to do this by wearing a mask as required by the PHO, travel only with yourself, household, or pandemic bubble, respect other people's beliefs and space, respect the protocols of any business you visit, wash your hands often, practice the recommended safe distancing of 2 meters, stick to the outdoors whenever possible, and clean spaces often. VARDA has a strong internal safety plan in place to ensure that both our staff and trail users remain safe and adhere to the most recent guidelines. As well, social distancing and capacity requirements are in place for emergency shelters, with a recommendation that our patrons only use these facilities in the event of an emergency. The United messaging should also strongly encourage local businesses to enforce COVID protocols in their locations as long as the hotels and restaurants are allowed to remain open. Messaging that artificially restricts their customer base is not an optimal solution. For many years, we have asked the public to choose Valemount as their travel destination in the winter, and we are now in unprecedented times. VARDA should not be left alone to address the public that we've worked so hard to bring here. We all should be united in a way that keeps our community safe, but also addresses the issues that people will still travel safely to our community, as we will continue to rely on winter tourism presently and of course into the near future. So that's what I was asked to present on behalf of VARDA.
Thank you very much. Motion to receive the delegation. Councilor McLean, Councilor Pearson. Any questions, comments to the delegation? Mr. Bielik, you're absolutely right. There is no travel restrictions as ordered by our provincial health officer. There is, however, in place a travel advisory. And at this time, all non-essential travel should be avoided. And that should be avoided until at least end of day December 7th. It is the view of this council that yes, we should be united in the messaging to our neighbors to the east, as well as any and all of those traveling here for recreation only. If you give us the day, we can have some messaging to you and your board for your consideration as to how we roll that out. Is that acceptable to the delegation?
I feel that that's very acceptable. Yeah. Thank you.
We will get on it.
Greatly appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you very much for presenting the delegation this evening. And welcome to VARDA. You're a new board member.
I am. Thank you. Yeah. It's very exciting times.
Very exciting indeed. Never a boring moment. Thank you, Mr. Bjork.
Have a great night. Thank you.
All in favor of receipt? It's carried. One item in the reading file. Does anybody want to highlight anything out of it? Under 9.1, we have a accounts payable report we received for October 2020. Councilor Pearson, Councilor McLean, any discussion on accounts payable? All in favor of receipt? It's carried. Under 9.2, we've received we have a receipt of a request for quotes, and the recommendation here, the council directs staff to negotiate a contract for janitorial services for municipal buildings with heat cleaning for a 3-year term with the option to renew for a further 2. This is council's wish. Councilor Blanchette, Councilor G, any discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 9.3, we have again an answer to a request for quotes. Recommendation here that Alpine Country Rentals be awarded the contract to provide the village of Valemount with a backhoe snow blade in the amount of $16,842 plus GST. Councilor Blanchette, Councilor McLean, any discussion? Even in a pandemic, the snow continues. All in favor? Carried. Number 9.4, Tourism Dependent Communities Fund Grant Application. Recommendation here, the staff be directed to submit an application to the Tourism Dependent Communities Fund developed by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture to fund the construction of washing facilities in Centennial Park. Councillor G and Councillor Pearson, any discussion? Councillor Blanchette.
Lovely to have Brandon Matthews there. Nice. And these are self-cleaning.
And you couldn't ask for a better time for it.
Yeah, exactly.
All in favor? Carried. 9.5, we have a request from Tourism Valemount Committee around public mask wearing. A couple of recommendations here. Number one, the Village of Valemount encourages all residents, visitors, and businesses to utilize face masks in public to help the slow spread of COVID-19, to protect the health of our residents and visitors, and to keep local businesses open and operating. Councillor Pearson, Councillor G, any discussion? Knowing that this report was published prior to the province-wide mandate, so
It's somewhat redundant at this point.
it is. We can we'll probably just scrap that, Mr.
Yes, you can.
Robinson. Yeah, so we'll just quash it on the floor or not proceed.
Best thing would be just to receive and file of council,
We'll so if I can ask for an amendment,
or you could defeat that motion.
all in favor of the motion? In opposition? It is defeated. Is there a motion please to receive? Council G, Council Blanchette. Discussion on receipt. All in favor? Carries. And that staff be directed to take appropriate steps to spread this message to residents, visitors, businesses, and other organizations. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Pearson, discussion. Councillor Pearson.
Yeah, even with the quashing of the previous, I think this is important to get the message out within the community for those who haven't seen the news, but the signage and messaging.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a tiny pot of money that we can focus our efforts in around this. And I'm sure staff will be coming with signage, banners, all sorts of wonderful things to get that message out. If there's anything specific council would like this evening, we can direct staff as well. But I would like to see some numbers, particularly around, yeah, everything requires a budget. All in favor? Carries. 9.6, we have some new COVID-19 operating procedures. Recommendation here, the proposed measures in the attached report be approved as amendments to the village's COVID-19 operating policy number 77 and associated procedures. Councillor McLean, Councillor Blanchette, any discussion? Again, prior to the province-wide mandate, but I appreciate staff being proactive in their policy creation. All in favor? Carries. Under 10.1, zoning and official community plan bylaw amendment for Ash Street. We have a couple recommendations. Councillor Pearson.
This is actually, I'll recuse myself as a signing authority for this society.
Thank you. We have a public hearing this evening, and the first recommendation of the Village of Valemount official community plan bylaw number 595/2006, amendment bylaw number 832/2020, be given third reading. Councilor McLean, Councilor Blanchette, any discussion on third reading? All in favor? Carries. And the number 2, the Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 610/2007, amendment bylaw number 833/2020, also be given third reading. Councilor G, Councilor Blanchett. Any discussion on third reading? All in favor? Carries. And three, that the Valemount Senior Citizen Housing Society must receive a development permit for the proposed development from council prior to receiving a building permit. Councilor McLean, Councilor G, any discussion? Councilor,
Very exciting.
yeah, I am a big fan of the design so far. Yeah.
Acceptance.
Further discussion? All in favor? It carries. For your info, Councilor Cole for readings passed, and the Senior Citizen Housing Society must receive a development permit. Great, thank you. Thank you. 10.2, the Valemount Council Procedure Bylaw number 834 to adopt as suspended. Councilor G, Councilor Pearson, any discussion on bylaw adoption? Good changes. For the better. All in favor? Carried. And two, that the council procedure, the procedure bylaw policy number 56 be repealed. Councilor Blanchett, Councilor McLean, any discussion on repeal? All in favor? Carried. 10.3, the Village of Valemount Council Remuneration Bylaw number 836 be adopted as presented. Councilor Blanchett, Councilor Pearson, any discussion as presented? All in favor? Carries. 10.4, Village of Valemount Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw number 837/2020 be given third reading and approves with the following increases. 3% for 2021 water rates, which was amended from 9.5%. 3% for 2021 sewage rates, amended from 9.5%, and 3% for 2021 solid waste rates. Councilor McLean, Councilor Blanchett, discussion on third reading. All in favor? Carried. Council reports. Councilor G.
Yeah.
Very good. Councilor Blanchett.
The 19th, we had a housing committee meeting. Everything's going along there very well. Everybody's getting more reports and everything's moving forward as we can hope for this time. The 23rd, we had a child and youth mental health meeting. And again, on the 23rd, last night, we had the OCP community engagement through Zoom. It was 2 different presentations. It was really interesting. It's coming along really well. It's nice to see what everybody has put in for their wants and needs and asks, and what everybody's looking forward to. And today, actually, the tourism and chamber met with the village EDO and the CAO, and we had our sign meeting, and that's moving along quite well. I'm really excited to be moving forward and hopefully looking at our plans here. The second, I just wanted to mention that my daughter and I were driving around a couple weeks ago at nighttime. We were doing some deliveries. And I want to remind everybody that it's really important to have your house number visible. We were just delivering stuff. We were in an ambulance trying to find your family, and we could not find a lot of places. So everything's dark. There's no lights on anywhere. There's no numbers visible anywhere. So I just wanted to put a friendly reminder for all of us to make sure that if we were in an ambulance in the middle of the night, you can find us.
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I thought I was listening in the background for you and signing to OCP and really good reminder on signage to go around the paper trail. Yeah. So, yeah, excellent that the sign was able to make some moves today. Councilor McLean.
November 12th, I had a call upon the Columbia River Treaty Governments Association. On the 17th, we have the budget meeting with the Valemount Entertainment Society. And on the 23rd, I actually participated in the official community planning webinars with staff of the Connecticut's office.
Councilperson.
All right, well, since we last met, we survived a rather different Remembrance Day. And I will say thank you to the, excuse me, the whole community for the support this year. Our numbers, we weren't sure, but we were actually up a little bit financially in the public this year, so very nice. So November 13th, Trans-Canada Yellow Bit Highway Association meeting. November 17th, Tourism Committee meeting. On November 20th, in my role as Deputy Mayor, I did a little CKBG TV interview based on impact of tourism in Valemount. October 24th this morning, we had a quick tourism chamber signage meeting, as Councilor reported. And yeah, it is an exciting time, the possibilities to get that cleaned up. This afternoon, I had an Operation Lifesaver Zoom meeting as well. And yeah, I would echo Councilor Blanchette's comments about house numbers in my daily walks around town. It's quite amazing to see how many are not marked for first responders. So the last thing you want to do is call for an ambulance and not have them able to find this. So that's fine.
Thanks very much, and much thanks to you, Councillor, for taking on those various roles while I was incapacitated, both ethically and legally. November 11th, took part in a modified but meaningful Remembrance Day ceremony at Branch 266 here in town. On the 12th was week 6 and 7. Thank you for the ethical resilient leadership course that I'm taking. And then later that day, the Congregation Trust Investment Committee meeting. November 17th, our weekly briefings with Valemount Emergency Services. On the 19th, fairly busy day, was week 8 and 9 for the ethical resilient leadership course, followed by regional hospital board in Prince George, as well as the regional district board attended in person. November 20th, as everyone should know, new health orders came into effect and will remain until December 7th. On that, I wanted to just take a moment to highlight one way the government of Alberta is letting all of their residents know that are tied to a cell phone. They will be putting out by the end of the week an emergency call out, so anybody with a cell phone will know exactly what the orders in that province will look like. November 21st, I took part in the second half of the Congregation Trust Board meeting. And on the 23rd, I was invited to do a virtual welcome with Sim First Nation Councillor Manuel to several trainees about to start or endeavor to start work with Lifecourse Region and the pipeline here in town. On the 23rd, participated in a go-to one of the 4 this week. But the first one was a go-to webinar with the PG Chamber, and it was a look ahead with MP Doherty, who's the MP of the Cariboo region, what the pandemic means from a federal standpoint, what could look like in 2021. In the background, had a good listen to the virtual CP review on the 23rd. And then today, made an introduction with our economic development officer to Donovan Diaz. He's the new Columbia Basin Broadband Corporation Chief Operating Officer. And we were able to make some good good discussion around last mile opportunities for here in the Valley and potential investment with the Columbia Broadband Corporation. And then today, again, a go-to webinar with PG Chamber. This time it was located with our MLA, Shirley Bond, and of course she was announced as the interim leader of the official opposition. This afternoon had a briefing with Valemount Emergency Services. And then just a reminder, as of today, the BC state of provincial emergency has been extended to the end of day, December 8th. And then a heads up, tomorrow, if you have a cell phone, the province of British Columbia will be conducting an alert-ready system test. So at 1:55, you will be scared out of your seat or traffic. So that's the reason for that. Motion to receive council reports. Councilor Pearson, Councilor Jean, any questions, comments for the members? Any highlights, Councilor McLean, from your local government committee?
We still review local concerns and comparing the past to communities. The original local concerns were George. George, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the last name, and see what was missed and all of it. So we were preparing for another meeting.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. All in favor of receipt? It's carried. Not proceeding in camera this evening, so Councilor Pearson. Thank you so much. We are adjourned.